Hello. Well, Chris said she's going to go 1, 2, 3, but Jeff is motioning to start. Go ahead and start. Okay. Hi there. Our service is now beginning. I'm Phoebe Thomas Sorgen, your liturgist for the day. For our prelude, Reverend Ben Meyers will enchant us with Do You Hear by Emily Thorne.
Do you hear, oh my friend, in the place where you stand, through the sky, through the land? Do you hear, do you hear, in the heights on the plain, on the main, in the sunshine, in the rain? Do you hear, do you hear, through the roar, then through the rush, through the throng, through the crush? Do you hear, in the hush of your soul, of your soul, hear the cry fear won't still, hear the heart's call to will, hear a sigh's startling trill in your soul, in your soul. From the place now where you stand to the outermost strand, do you hear, oh my friend? Do you hear, do you hear? All the dreams, all the dares, all the sighs, all the prayers, they are yours, mine and theirs. Do you hear, do you hear?
Oh, how perfectly lovely. What a way to start the day. I got my first tears of joy of the day. Thank you, Ben. And welcome everyone to the Berkeley Fellowship of Unitarian Universalists, whether here in person or on Zoom. Let's turn and wave greetings to our friends who are on Zoom. I think they can see us if we wave to that camera. We are part of a free religious tradition that honors the loving heart, the open mind, and growing together within the beloved community. Please turn your cell phones off. Cell phones are not part of our beloved community. If you have an announcement, write it down and give it to Jeff on the left and the back. To share a joy or sorrow, write it in the book over there where I'm happy to see Marjorie writing, and we'll read it later in the service. Or type it into the Zoom chat if you're with us on Zoom. Land acknowledgement. We are fortunate to be in one of the most beautiful regions of the world. This land was once the territory of the Huichin ancestral and unceded land of the Chochenyo-speaking Ohlone people, ancestors and descendants of the sovereign Verona Band of Alameda County. The land is still of great importance to them. We honor the land's original inhabitants, the documented 5,000-year history of a vibrant community at the West Berkeley Shell Mound, the Ohlone people who reside here and beyond, and all ancestors and descendants of the attempted genocide. Colonist descendants still benefit from the occupation of stolen lands and other exploitation. Our nation's tragic history is heartbreaking and shameful. Rematriation and extensive reparations are long overdue for that and for crimes against humanity around the world. Meanwhile, we sometimes pay a tax-deductible Shumi land tax and recommend that you do too. By the way, don't record any part of this service. We do, and our sermons are on our website. Zoomers, at this time, consider lighting candles now while we light our chalice, a UU symbol of the Spirit that lives within us all. We'll read together from the order of service. Let love be the spirit of this congregation and service its goal. This is our living covenant to dwell together in peace, to seek the truths in life, and to help one another. We light a red candle to mourn Black lives taken by police and structural violence, to proclaim the Black lives do matter, and to express our commitment to Black liberation, reparations, and the end of slave capitalism.
Good morning. I'm so glad that everyone is here together. Our first hymn is actually a hymn, a march. It's number 109. Andy is playing it in the background, and I don't know how many of you participated in some form in a march on May 1st. Let me see your hands, loud and proud. I marched along with a couple thousand of my closest friends from Fruitvale, Bart, up to San Antonio. Let us join together in the spirit of this hymn that unites us all and our sovereign work together to make the world a better place for all. Number 109. Please rise in body and spirit. As we come marching, marching in the beauty of the day, a million darkened kitchens, a thousand workshops gray, are touched with all the radiance that the sun from discloses. For the people hear us Thank you. It's good to be with you again on this first Sunday in May. I am really glad to be with you. It's been quite the last 100 and some odd days, has it not? And so I hope today that we can address some of the elephants in the room and to join our hearts and minds together in resistance and in persistence and in the grace of building beloved community. I want to start by reading a letter from Birmingham Jail, which was introduced to me shortly after it was written. I was a child in grade school, and I had a teacher who brought this incredible thing, and we read it over the course of several days, and it has stayed with me, come back and read it through so many trying times. It is probably the greatest, for me, American document, maybe after the Declaration of Independence, but and the Gettysburg Address, but it's up there. It's definitely up there. So I have an excerpt which will be sort of the basis and the backdrop for my words later today. Following this, we will sing number 205, Amazing Grace. So if you want to grab that now, we'll be able to go right into that. Letter from a Birmingham jail, 16th April, 1963. I am cognizant of the interrelatedness of all communities and states. I cannot sit idly by in Atlanta and not be concerned about what happens in Birmingham. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. Never again can we afford to live with the narrow provincial outside agitator idea. For anyone who lives in the United States can never be considered an outsider anywhere within its borders. My friends, I must say to you that we have not made a single gain in civil rights without determined legal and nonviolent pressure. Lamentably, it is an historical fact that privileged groups seldom give up their privileges voluntarily. Individuals may see the moral light and voluntarily give up their unjust posture, but as Reinhold Niebuhr has reminded us, groups tend to be more immoral than individuals. We know through painful experience that freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed. One may well ask, how can you advocate breaking some laws and obeying others? The answer lies in the fact that there are two types of laws, just and unjust. I would be the first to advocate obeying just laws. One has not only a legal but a moral responsibility to obey just laws. Conversely, one has a moral responsibility to disobey unjust laws. I would agree with St. Augustine that an unjust law is no law at all. Now, what is the difference between the two? How does one determine whether a law is just or unjust? A just law is a man-made code that squares with the moral law or the law of God. An unjust law is a code that is out of harmony with the moral law. To put it in the terms of St. Thomas Aquinas, an unjust law is a human law that is not rooted in eternal law and natural law. Any law that uplifts human personality is just. Any law that degrades human personality is unjust. I hope you are able to see the distinction I'm trying to point out. In no sense do I advocate evading or defying the law, as would be the rabid segregationist. That would lead to anarchy. One who breaks an unjust law must do so openly, lovingly, and with a willingness to accept the penalty. I submit that an individual who breaks a law that conscience tells him is unjust and who willingly accepts the penalty of imprisonment in order to arouse the conscience of the community over its injustice is in reality expressing the highest respect for the law. Herein ends the reading for today. Thank you. And now let us sing together this song of grace. Amazing. Please rise in body and spirit, and we'll sing all 4 verses. I've chosen the title of Seeing Evil for my sermon topic today. It's hard to say sometimes where the idea for a sermon comes from, sometimes. But the events of the recent weeks have made it clear that there is no escaping the presence of the subject about which I'll be preaching about today. In fact, you could say that I have been so flabbergasted at the persistence of the subject of today's sermon that I have been heartsick about the reality of evil being embodied every day. And so, as someone who dwells on ideas that will not let them go, I am bringing you this sermon, which I have thought about a lot these past few weeks. But I want to start by saying that at a recent social event, someone I did not know well, but who knew I was a minister, asked in polite conversation, "Rev. Ben, what are you up to lately?" And responding from a place of honest preoccupation rather than polite reflectiveness, I said, "I've been spending a lot of time lately with evil, and I've been really getting into it." And what followed could be labeled as, at best, an awkward silence. It's risky going out in public as a minister sometimes. How do we reconcile the events in our world that bring such divisiveness and destruction and devastation and death? How do we make sense of the seemingly countless tragedies that unfold and repeat themselves with each bombing, each shooting, each act of oppression, each hate-filled act, each disregard for decency and the rule of law that occurs now on a daily, multiple times on a daily basis? How do we respond to the vitriol and violence espoused endlessly, it seems, everywhere, especially from the highest offices in the land? What are we to do when faced with evil? We Unitarian Universalists don't talk about evil very much. Maybe that's because our Universalist ancestors believed so strongly in the doctrine of universal salvation that all souls would be reunited to an ultimately loving place, that none are destined for an eternity in hell. And if you take hell away, well, perhaps the idea of evil doesn't make quite so much sense because there's nowhere to put it. Or maybe it's because our Unitarian ancestors were convinced of humanity's ability to climb onward and upward, to rise above our basest instincts. An old joke is that Universalists believe God is too loving to damn anyone, and that Unitarians believe they are too good to be damned by anyone. And yet, there are examples of confronting evil which we would be wise to learn from our spiritual ancestors. And from the many, I want to offer just a few at the beginning of this sermon. Of course, the story of John Newton, who penned the words of the song we just sang, Amazing Grace, is fairly well known. He was a captain of a slave ship when the grace of conscience taught his heart to fear what he was doing, and he changed course, set his human cargo free, and became an abolitionist and an Anglican minister, making grace sound amazingly healing. But please note, it began with awareness of his complicity in the evil. And this is a hard grace, but a liberating grace. Noticing our complicity in evil is usually hard, but it is also unusually amazing. In turning against slavery, our early Unitarian and Universalist forebears couldn't be purists and rely on persuasion or moral politics. They couldn't stop the expansion or stop the violence without acknowledging evil and actively confronting it. Theodore Parker, the abolitionist Unitarian preacher whose parsonage was a stop on the Underground Railroad, would, as legend has it, write his sermons with his father's loaded pistol at his desk and his grandfather's Revolutionary wartime sword at his side, ready and willing to protect those fugitive slaves hiding in his cellar on their way to Canaan land or Canada. He sometimes made escapees members of his church so as to thwart U.S. Marshals from enforcing fugitive slave laws. Parker was also one of the so-called Secret Six who funded John Brown's effort to start an insurrection against U.S. slavery practices. All but one of those six were Unitarians. Here's another story from our Universalist heritage. At the time of the American Revolution, Dr. Benjamin Rush, prominent physician in Philadelphia, who signed the Declaration of Independence, was a friend of Jefferson and Adams and Franklin. But unlike Jefferson, Rush freed his one slave because he had a dream informed by grace. And in this dream, he was transported to Africa, where he saw himself on a beach worshiping with indigenous people who were amazed and shocked and frightened to see him, a white man, suddenly appear among them. And in this dream, the spiritual leader of the group tells those gathered that while white was supposed to be a symbol of innocence and purity, through denial and participation in evil, had now become the opposite. The leader tells Rush that they are all standing on the shores of an earthly paradise where humanity began and from which his people were stolen into captivity. And then in his dream, Rush sees a prominent Quaker abolitionist coming towards him, carrying in his hands a petition to end slavery and offering it to Rush to take up and carry on. Rush awakens from his dream, becomes an abolitionist. You could say he got woke. And because he came to believe that the divine intent was for the salvation of all souls, even the guilty, he declared himself a universalist. In 1790, he drafted the Articles of Faith, a plan for church governance and recommendations for the first American Convention of Universalists. The Articles condemned the slave trade and from its very formation called for abolition and the education of African Americans. Now that is awareness of evil. And here's one more short story from another early Universalist, Dr. George de Benneville, who was born of French Huguenots, raised in England, served in the Navy, and was captured off the coast of North Africa near Algeria. To his amazement, he was treated by his Muslim captors with remarkable hospitality, dignity, and respect. De Benneville, with amazing grace, shed his prejudices against dark-skinned people and his ignorance of Islam. He became convinced that redeeming love can show its power to the human heart in people of every culture, of every race and tradition, and so he too became a universalist, a disciple of universal love. It is hard to confront evil sometimes. The examples I gave you were exceptions, anomalies, conducted by exceptional people, considered radical by many at the time, and certainly dangerous to the status quo. It requires risk and courage, I believe, to see evil going on around you and then to do something about it. Edmund Burke said, "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good people to do nothing." And Martin Luther King Jr. taught, "The ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by bad people, but the silence over that by good people." One of the things that can cause silence and complacency to evil is to separate ourselves from it, to distance ourselves, to even turn the other way sometimes. Within Unitarian Universalism, the concept of free will can sometimes, I believe, lead us to a comfortable practice of separating ourselves from the evil doings and evildoers of the world, and even engage in a denial of it. Sometimes we wish to cling to the happy thoughts of spiritual life and engage in what the Buddhist teacher and psychotherapist John Wellwood termed spiritual bypassing, seeking an easy spirituality, seeing the holy only in sunsets and nature, at least the good parts of it, physical well-being and pleasures. Spiritual bypassing seeks to ease the troubling realities of life by avoiding unresolved emotional issues or psychological wounds or the unpleasant and challenging work of real spiritual development. When we are honest with ourselves and consider the entirety of life, both joys and sorrows, the good and evil within us, the capacity for both, life is one package. It is naive to not believe in evil and to not recognize it, which is why the current ridiculousness of the war against woke is so naive and childish and evil. It attempts to literally whitewash the depth and breadth and truth of our history, of our reality. And even more, it disregards the true meaning of one of the oldest mottos upon which our country was founded, E pluribus unum, from the many, one. Which is to say that unity, diversity, and inclusivity is the manifestation and embodiment of e pluribus unum. To try and erase the whole story, warts and all, of our history is to deny the very source of our country's pluralism, our superpower, if you will. And it is evil to demonize the very thing that allows the fullness of our power and strength as a democracy and a people of many. To not admit or even be engaged in the evils of the world is a good definition of privilege, I think. Something one does not have to deal with, therefore distancing ourselves from it, perhaps even to the point of deluding ourselves that it no longer exists. I say, if you don't believe in evil, you just haven't lived long enough. Or you're just not paying attention. That is, you are spiritually bypassing uncomfortable events or inconvenient truths. I believe a working definition of evil could be whatever distracts us or from or denies our essential relatedness. In other words, whatever convinces me that you are not my brother or sister or my kin, whatever gets you to think of me as anything less than your kin, that thing, that thought, that justification, that's the kind of distancing and denial that leads to evil, that delivers us to evil. It is also, I would add, that which keeps us from recognizing our complicity in it. But for me, given the current realities of the times, the real question about this kind of evil is, what am I going to do about it? Because the question isn't any longer whether evil exists in the world, or even why is there evil. I've lived long enough to know evil and to see evil and to hear evil, and I know there is no escaping it. The question is, now, what do I do about it? And our responses matter, especially now as we live in this inescapable network of mutuality that is being torn asunder by the cruelty and hatred and unfeeling tyranny and unchecked terror. I offer this to you today, that our Unitarian Universalist faith and heritage calls us to respond to evil with justice and compassion, with equity and with love. These are the core principles we espouse and must keep before us in these times when the sheer overwhelm of evil around us can draw us to the temptation to indulge in the escape which our privilege may allow. I believe we, you and I and everyone we know, and especially the members of the Berkeley Fellowship of Unitarian Universalists, are called to rise up and to embrace the principles which compel us to respond to evil and injustice, rather than only reacting to it or running from it. We are called to recognize evil, all that distracts us from or denies our essential relatedness, and to respond with our principles and our moral convictions and our bodies and our minds and our courageous, loving acts. To respond is the only religious path and the most difficult to undertake. But if we are to survive, we must, as in the words of Adrienne Rich, reconstitute the world in the face of evil. She says, "My heart is so moved by all I cannot save. So much has been destroyed. I have to cast my lot with those who age after age, perversely, with no extraordinary power, reconstitute the world." Martin Luther King Jr., in his Where lecture to the General Assembly of Unitarian Universalists in 1966, told us, "The ultimate weakness of violence is that it is a descending spiral, begetting the very thing it seeks to destroy. Instead of diminishing evil, it multiplies it. Through violence, you can murder the liar, but you cannot murder the lie or establish the truth. You may murder the hater, but you do not murder hate. In fact, violence merely increases hate, and so it goes on and on. Returning violence with violence multiplies violence, adding deeper darkness in an already starless sky. Darkness cannot drive out darkness, he says. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Only love. So, where is this love to be found in times like these? There is a legend found in different forms in many religious traditions. Now, I don't really know if it happened this way, but I do believe it's true. That once the gods wished to hide the source of love and peace from humans, thinking that unless they truly sought it with great earnestness, they would truly not appreciate it. And so they conferred with one another about the best hiding place. One god suggested the top of the highest mountain, which would require great fortitude to find it. Another suggested hiding it in the depths of a dark cave, which would require great courage to find it. And on they talked about where to best hide the secret of joy and love and peace from the humans until they were ready to receive it. And finally, one of the wisest among them said, "No, hiding it in the world will not do, for they would eventually find it. The best place to hide this gift, the secret of joy and peace and love and goodness, is deep within the human heart itself. For then, if they have the audacity to embark upon the journey to discover it, they would truly be ready to accept it." Far from having nothing to say about evil, our pluralistic Unitarian Universalist faith and heritage tells us that the face of evil is the face of alienation, of separation, of us versus them, and of the complacency of privilege. And our Unitarian Universalist principles tell us that the only response to the tragedies of evil now and then and always is to look through the eyes of what is best within ourselves, to search within our own hearts and find there the door of justice and compassion and equity and love and our place in the common humanity, and then open it. Open it as wide as possible and keep it open with that amazing grace which once found never lets us go. May we rise to the occasion and do the difficult work of confronting the evil that is now before us with the transforming power of love that is within us, each of us, and which allows us to do courageous and amazing things that are ours to do now. Blessed be, Ashe, Namaste, Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Ben, for those enlightening and amazing words. More tears of gratitude, huh? Okay, when I heard about today's topic, I was reminded of a film about torture at Abu Ghraib. A friend had teased me, saying I must be masochistic to watch that, to want to see that film. But yes, we must face evil rather than turning blind eyes. Reverend Ben, his ministry spans nearly 3 decades. He's been a parish minister elsewhere and right here from 2009 to 13, and he gifted us with the flaming chalice image behind me. He's been a hospice chaplain, a social justice and community minister throughout Northern California. He has 2 kids and spends as much time as he can with a 3-year-old grandchild. As the proud dad of a transgender child, He's an avid advocate for LGBTQI+ rights. Now, Tom Ruderow will share an original song called Wounded Sacred. Sing along on the chorus if you wish. The lyrics are in your order of service.
Please do. Join the choir. Tell me what is at the heart of our inhumanity. Tell me, how did it start all of our war-filled history? Tell me what pulled us apart, caused racist insanity. Tell me, how did we depart from our sacred mystery? Tell me, when will we realize we are each of us the same? When will we look in each other's eyes and see we all feel the same pain? Tell me, when will we shed our disguise, stop the projection and the blame, connecting with the woundedness inside our sacredness will be reclaimed. Sing along. Woundedness and sacredness, who we all are at our depths, showing us our blessedness, the beauty of our soul. Owning our pain, we'll confess, each of us just like the rest. Divine in all will manifest, wounded sacred will be whole. Show me what it is that is real, what my brother's going through. Show me what my sister feels, let me try walking in her shoes. Show the honest truth, our wounds reveal that we're a work in progress too. Show the sacredness no more concealed, see the divine in all anew. Show me the reason we are here all together at this time. Surely not to live in fear, this simply can't be God's design. Show me how we can recall that we're doing our best, and then be kind. See the same hurt in all and others we'll hold near, our hearts will open as we find. Woundedness and sacredness, who we all are at our depths, showing us our blessedness, the beauty of our soul. Owning our pain, we'll confess, each of us just like the rest. Divine in all will manifest, wounded sacred will be whole. Help us see the antidote for our nation's arrogance. Knowing good and evil absolutes is just irrational nonsense. Oh, help us know using others as scapegoats, our inner wounds will be enhanced. Healing our pain at its root, sacred in all will be evidence. Woundedness and sacredness, who we all are at our depths, showing us our blessedness, the beauty of our soul. Owning our pain will confess, each of us just like the rest. Divine in all will we manifest, wounded sacred will we hold.
Thank you so much for that beautiful song that you wrote, Tom. And it's especially meaningful to those of us who know your history of having forgiven the man and even befriended eventually the man who brutally mugged you. And yeah, it's not, of course, that we don't have boundaries. The man was not, was incarcerated and wasn't dangerous, but at that point, but yeah, woundedness and sacredness. You're about to hear a chime which begins our silent meditation. Get comfy, breathe deep, and after a minute, the chime will end the meditation. Any of us may share what's in our hearts each week and request community support by writing in the Joys and Sorrows book, which is on that table at the beginning of the service, or typing into the Zoom chat. Gratitude and love for all the BFUU people who have loved and supported Simone Chiodini. She thanks us. There's always happiness inside, but we need to look inside to see it. Thank you for that, James. I'm so very happy to share that my youngest son, Theo, will be graduating this Saturday from Lewis and Clark in Portland. And this is Reverend Ben. Reverend Ben's oldest son, Nachi, and he will be taking a road trip together to get there and back again. Yay, blessings. With prayers for the people of Gaza and for an end to the blockade, let the food, medicine, humanitarian assistance in now stop the slaughter. Let the flotilla arrive and bless those there. End war. And for those who don't know, one of the ships on the flotilla, Freedom Flotilla, was attacked by an Israeli drone and sank off the coast of Malta, and the government of Malta, the coast equivalent of the Coast Guard there, did save all of the people aboard. Steve Ogden says, thinking of my sister Marty on the occasion of the memorial for her husband, Pete. taking place at the Unitarian Church of Orlando, Florida. So blessings on that transition. The sung metta meditation is Buddhist. Please sing along. May I be safe, may I be well, may I know joy, may I be free, may you be safe, may you be well, may you know joy, may you be free, may they be safe, may they be well, may they know joy, may they be free, may all be safe, may all be well, may all know joy, may all be free. Big thanks to Mike for the gorgeous roses from his garden, to the choir, Melissa, Barbara, Margaret, and Virginia, and Larry. You too can share that joy of joining the choir if you'd like. They rehearse Tuesday nights on Zoom. Big thanks to Andy, to Tom, Ben, Reverend Ben, of course, and our tech crew, Paul, Jeff, and Christine, and Anders. Thank you to all who worked on this service, who shared and who attended, including Zoomers. On Zoom, we have Ben Birch, Jinky and Mike Gardner, and Marge Turner. Marge Tungren, yes. So we have some announcements. Okay, Jeff wants to make an announcement.
I might be jumping the gun. Today at 12:30, between 12:30 and 2, there's going to be the writing group. So if you like to write, you know where to go. It's right there at 12:30 to 2. And Simone will be leading that. And then on Thursday, if you want to be one of the people who kind of like figure out what we do here every Sunday, maybe pick liturgists, pick speakers, pick singers, speakers, etc. If you want to be in that group, we would love to have you join us. That's Thursday. It's the worship service committee. So let me know, and I'll send you the email. As a matter of fact, if you don't want to shoot up a hand real fast, I'll see you, and then I'll know to send you an email. Okay. All right. Awesome. Great. Gotcha. So if I forget, that's another thing. The other thing that's happening on Thursday, for all the rest of you, there's going to be a improper English country dance. It's right here. And I used to go to these years and years ago. They're really fun. And so if you want any information about that, there's a flyer over there. Or can I ask you, Alan? Or you can ask Alan. And it's anyway, this Thursday, 7 o'clock. It's a really fun thing to do. So thanks.
650, if you don't know what you're doing, we'll teach you how to do it.
650, I heard.
And they'll teach you the dance. The Social Justice Committee normally meets on third Sundays after lunch, including this month, but last month we missed it, so we're meeting today over there after lunch, and everybody's welcome to that. Unitarian Universalist Julia Ward Howe wrote the Mother's Day Proclamation for Peace in 1870. So next Sunday, Code Pink will have their annual march across the Golden Gate Bridge for peace. If you'd like a ride there after the service, see Mike Kerr. Could you raise your hand, please, Mike? Yeah. No, it's Mother's Day, next Sunday. Yeah. I'm pretty sure of that. Yeah, okay. And see Mike or me if you'd like to join us at Travis Air Force Base, May 31st, protesting deportations from there and weapons shipments and drones. The order of service and email newsletter list more announcements. Sign up at bfuu.org or get on our mailing list by giving your email address to me after the service. And visitors introduction. If any newbies are willing to introduce yourselves briefly, or friends who haven't come in a while, or people who have never introduced themselves, now's your chance. Okay, it's optional. Some people are shy, that's fine. Thank you for coming. We'd love to connect with you over coffee or lunch after the service and in the weeks ahead. Julian Finn's topic next Sunday is a Mother's Day reflection on biology, families, and social policy. Having worked in maternal and child health, she'll speak of the modern family, caregiving relationships, and what progress is needed. Now we share responsibility for the spiritual home. Our shared plate partner is Hope for Haiti Education, which works with the Grand Ravine Community. We're running late, Tom. I'm gonna handle this. The Grand Ravine Community Human Rights Council in Port-au-Prince to provide scholarships so kids can attend school. Thank you very much, Tom Luce, for your work over many years helping hundreds of poor Haitian children. And now during our the offertory, Reverend Ben will sing "Love's Gonna Carry Us" by Fred Small.
Just one announcement, the address is wrong. You
Oh.
can't use the website that's in the program today, we'll get it next week.
Okay, next week we'll have the correct website address for donating to that and getting more information, because the one in the order of service, I guess, is wrong. Thank you.
Thanks. So this is a new to me song. I've been learning a lot of new songs, as well as singing a lot of old ones. And this is a new song to me, but it's been around since 1981. And many of you remember the onslaught of evil that we were facing back then. This was written by a troubadour, who later became a Unitarian Universalist minister and colleague and friend, and his name is Fred Small. And this is called "Love's Gonna Carry Us." I have to remember how it goes. Okay. It's been a long, hard climb. It's gonna be a long, hard time. But there's no one changing our mind about what we gotta do. And when the road gets rough, everybody's saying just give up. All our friends, sweet love, will carry us through. No, we don't have money, but we got the will. We got the voices talking truth that can never be still. But they're gonna threaten, and they'd have killed to get their way. But this movement, if we are building, will not go away. It's gonna be a long, hard time. It's gonna be a long, hard climb. But no one's gonna change our minds about what we gotta do. And when the road gets rough, everybody's saying just give up. All our friends, sweet love, will carry us through. No, you know that we're gonna argue. We don't always agree, but we can't let anger blind us all to what we can be. We're talking about changes, not just changing the faces at the top. No, freedom is a constant struggle and we cannot stop. It's gonna be a long, hard time, gonna be a long, steep climb, but no one's gonna change our minds about what we gotta do. And when the road gets tough, everybody saying just give up. All our friends, sweet love, gonna carry us through. You know our love, sweet friends, will carry us through. Thank you, Fred.
To the work of this fellowship, which is creating beloved community within and beyond these walls, we dedicate ourselves and these our offerings. Please join the choir in hymn number 157 from the gray hymnal, Step by Step.
So this is another union song. This is from the the preamble to the Constitution of the United Mine Workers of America, one of the first labor groups in the U.S. So I know you're going to sound better and feel better if you rise in body and or spirit as you can. And we're going to sing this a couple of times, so sing it once you get it. Step by step, the longest march can be won, can be won. Many stones can form an arch, singly done, singly done. And by union, what we will can be accomplished still. Drops of water turn a mill, singly done, singly done. Step by step, the longest march can be won, can be won. Many stones can form an arch, singly done, singly done. And by union, what we will can be accomplished still. Drops of water turn a mill, singly done, singly done. Step by step, the longest march can be won, can be won. Many stones can form an arch, singly done, singly done. And by union, what we will can be accomplished still. Drops of water turn a mill, singly done, singly done, singly done, singly done.
Yeah, wonderful. Let's read together. We extinguish the flame of this chalice, but not the warmth of love, the light of truth, or the energy of service. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again. Thanks again for coming, everyone. Please stay for fellowship and lunch. And now let's form a circle and sing hymn 155, Circle Round for Freedom by Rabbi Linda Hirschhorn.
Circle round for freedom.
As you leave this place in the presence of one another, may love be your guide and courage your companion, and may joy greet you at every turn. May you seek health and wholeness in all things, and exercise a generosity of substance and spirit in all that you do. And may the truth always come easily to your lips, even in this world that is often fearful and fractured and false. Despite this, strive to be happy, but remain unsatisfied until this world is made more fair and all her people won by what we do or leave undone. Go in peace, live in grace with gratitude, return again and again in love. Amen.
Oh.